Good morning, Brownsville. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this feed. If this is your first time here, welcome. My name is Frank Olivo. Our program focuses on the very important issues that are affecting our local community. We have shed light on injustices, and we have allowed for our platform, this mic, to be that of the voice of the people. If this is something that you can see yourself supporting, we ask that you like, comment, and share this live feed. Now, as of late, our Facebook page is at risk of being taken down. The powers that be do not want you, the voters, the constituent, to know the truth. But remember, fam, we will not be silenced. If you're really about the cause and you really want to stand up to corruption, you want to hold our elected leaders accountable, well, make sure you subscribe to our social media platforms. You can subscribe to both of our pages, Frankie Olivo page on Facebook, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube page titled Frankie Olivo TV. Remember, Good Morning Brownsville will come on Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. religiously. So make sure you subscribe to Frankie Olivo TV to tune in. We will not be silenced. And remember, Brownsville, I am forever grateful to each and every one of you for your time and attention that you provide. Thank you so much, Brownsville. How we doing, chat? How we doing? Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great 4th of July weekend holiday. It's funny because it's true what they say. We need a vacation from our vacation. We have the case of Mondays where we go to sleep Sunday night, wake up, and like, uh-oh, it's Monday. But nonetheless, we have to work, unfortunately. That's the beauty of life. Today, ladies and gentlemen, today we'll be talking about baby Logan funeral. Baby Logan will be laid to rest today. The family has issued a statement where they have been thankful to the community for the response. Many people have criticized us and said, well, you know, maybe you shouldn't focus on this. Let the family grieve. But at the same time, it's important for us to talk about this important issue because this could happen to your child. This could happen to your loved one. I was hesitant at first, but then once I started talking to parents, they stressed the importance of the responsibility that daycares, that preschools have with our most prized possessions. It's interesting to learn the dynamics of exactly what happened. Investigations are still preliminary, but I'm getting the breaking news, something out of McAllen, the airport. Wow. Un tirador activo fue abatido tras ingresar al edificio patrullar fronteriza en McAllen, Texas. Wow. So there's an active shooter in McAllen at the airport. Interesting. Out of all places. Let me post this very quickly. Again, breaking news. There was an active shooter in McAllen, and people will say, well, why do you post on McAllen? Well, we have people from Brownsville. People from Brownsville that travel out of McAllen. My friends, the last time I went to Vegas, let me post this very quickly. I do apologize. The last time I went to Vegas was out of McAllen. Why? Because of, I forgot their airline. That is very affordable. Unfortunately, Brownsville doesn't have the luxury of us having options for us to fly. So McAllen is a location, an airport that many individuals from all over the valley travel. Me personally, I've gone to Vegas out of McAllen. Other people prefer McAllen. It's a lot better airport than we have here in Brownsville, unfortunately. Un sujeto armado interrumpe en oficinas de la patrulla fronterizas McAllen y es abatido. So a person did die. A person did go armed into the McAllen airport, and he was killed. Wow. All of the flights out of McAllen International Airport are delayed. There are problems within security outside. It is they're not allowing vehicles to enter any terminal parking spaces. The access will be halted until now. Um, Stay tuned for any active information. So very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Not a great day to start out your morning if you're flying out of McAllen. But nonetheless, we live in a scary world today. Ladies and gentlemen, again, today we will talk about baby Logan's funeral. It is set for today, and that is how we will start today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in, Brownsville.
Arrangements are set for the 4-year-old boy who died last week in Brownsville after being left alone in a van while at a daycare. Those funeral services start on Sunday with a visitation at East Chapel of Darling Mauser Funeral Home. That will be from 4 to 9 p.m. The family of Logan Urbina is thanking the community for their support as they mourn his loss.
What's up, GC fam? And we're here again. Extremely heartbroken about the tragedy that happened last week. But as you know, Golden Corral, me, RGB Elite, always down to help out the community. So July 12th, we will have a chicken plate event for them. Tell them more, Simon.
Like you heard from Mr. Gaspar here, July 12th, we're going to have a chicken plate event, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Any proceeds will help. Very heartbroken, very tragic event.
It's Rudy Juarez. Like Gaspar said, we're all heartbroken by this event. And we always help the community out. We've been doing it for years together, Golden Corral, RGB. So now we're together to help the family out, man. So anything will help. People who volunteer to help sell tickets, volunteer for the day of the event. You want to buy tickets, you want to sell tickets, anything you want, you PM Golden Corral, you PM us, like RGB or Rudy Juarez, Sebastian Juarez, Gaspar Hernandez. And this is the tragedy that has struck our community. And now is the time for the community to help out this family. We're here to help. Thank you, and God bless. So once again, guys, we're gonna have a chicken plate fundraiser July 12th from 11 to 2. So once again, guys, let's get behind the Urbina family and show them all the love and support that they deserve, guys. Keep them in our prayers. We'll see you here July 12th. Thank you.
One thing, ladies and gentlemen, that we can all agree on this tragedy was that it shouldn't have happened. Many people have questioned, and again, it's easy for us to play Monday morning quarterback after the fact. If we can provide some context very quickly, there was a field trip that was done in late June to Los Fresnos, the safari, where over 25 children from preschool attended. From our investigations, what we have gathered from that event was that there were no more than 2, possibly 3 adults supervising the children. And as you can imagine, children the ages of 4 to, let's say, 8, 9, 10 years old, whenever they see animals, they possibly get excited. It's hard for us to understand the reality of that day. If we could just picture ourselves there, what we learned from this day was that it was a quick trip. They went out at 8:30. By the time they returned back, it was 11:30 to the preschool. And as you can imagine, children running around, being out in the hot sun, well, they get tired, especially after they eat. Well, sometimes they need their nap. So you can imagine it's difficult. It's difficult taking care of children. That is a given. It is very difficult. Now, just imagine trying to watch over and take care of multiple 24, 25 children. It's not easy. From our personal experience, and those that have kids can relate, whenever they go send their kids off to a field trip, they usually always ask the parents if they'd like to volunteer, usually. Was this a case that they just didn't have enough eyeballs? They just didn't have enough manpower to be able to properly assist, and monitor these children. What I just learned a couple days ago, and possibly you were aware of this, was of what transpired on that day. What is interesting for us to learn, ladies and gentlemen, was that the baby Logan, unfortunately, was locked in the van for more than 4 to 5 hours. And what we learned, if I could read this news article very quickly, it states, a probable cause affidavit obtained by Valley Central revealed new details in the death of a 4-year-old who died after being left in the hot daycare van. As reported previously by Valley Central, Ruiz and Silva were arrested in connection to the death of Logan Urbina, who was found unresponsive in a van that belongs to the Learning Club preschool. Documents indicate that on Friday, the Learning Club preschool took its students on a field trip to Los Fresnos. The van, which was in direct control of Ruiz and Silva, departed from the daycare at 8:30. The field trip concluded at about 11, and from there, the women transported 24 children, including the child, Logan Urbina. Of the 24 children who went on the field trip, 15, including Urbina, were placed in a 2018 Ford Transit van and brought back to the daycare after the field trip. They arrived to the Learning Club preschool at 11:30 a.m. Statements obtained by police indicate that at about 4:30, 5 hours later, ladies and gentlemen, staff members from the Learning Center preschool began to realize that Urbina was missing. Silva and a second witness decided to go outside and check the van, where they found Urbina unresponsive. This is what I didn't know, what I found out recently, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe y'all knew this before. The following: Silva and the witness removed the child from the van, and another witness began to perform CPR on the child. Shortly thereafter, police and EMS were called. They discovered that the child was dead upon arrival. Ruiz cooperated with police and provided a statement saying that she and Silva were in charge of the van, and that's when she came back to the daycare. They did not realize that Urbina had not gone off the van. Silva refused to speak to police without her attorney present. Both Silva and Ruiz faced charges of injury to a child causing death, a second-degree felony. Ruiz released on a $60,000 bond Wednesday. Silva was issued a $10,000 bond. It is not yet known if she has been released from custody. Since the news of the death, the Brownsville community has rallied around Logan Urbina's family. A GoFundMe account has been made in an effort to help Urbina's family with funeral expenses. Urbina's funeral is scheduled for Monday, July 7th, 2025. What is interesting to learn from this case, ladies and gentlemen, is that two things that I find very odd. One was that a total of 24 children went to the safari expedition field trip. And from the article, it seems as if there were two vehicles that transported these children. They divided them in half, 15 and 14, it seems. And it seems as if these women that were arrested, they were the ones that drove. And they, as of right now, again, the investigations is still preliminary. But as of right now, those two women are the only ones being held responsible for that tragic day. This, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be an example for all the preschools, for all the daycares in the Rio Grande Valley, and possibly even for the state of Texas. Whenever we deal with kids, it's not easy. When we think of the classroom, usually the average size of a classroom is anywhere from 20 to 25. Once it starts getting 25 to 30 children to a classroom, then it starts getting out of hand. That is what the school districts, they try to avoid as much as possible. They try to make it where the student-teacher ratio is 1 to where the teacher is able to monitor, able to teach these children in where they're able to have a hands-on experience in their educational experience with the student teachers. Why? Because as we all know, once you start putting 30, 40 children into a classroom, the teacher possibly can't manage. Why? Because it's too much. So if we can imagine classrooms being 20 to 25 at most, we would think that these preschools, that they would encourage parents to go on field trips. Now, we understand that mom and dad in today's society, with inflation, with the cost of living being so expensive, it is hard and difficult for parents to go out on these field trips. Why? Well, because mom and dad need to work. From my experience, I remember going on field trips, and my mom and my family members accompanied me, and you possibly have done the same. What we have learned from this is that there was only two adults supervising as what we know, and based on the arrest, a $10,000 and a $60,000 bond was set for these individuals. Now, when we think of, and we talked about this last week, what is the life of a child worth? You know, we couldn't put it into terms. You know, if we gathered all the gold, all the gems, all the precious jewels on this earth, there isn't, you know, we wouldn't be able to afford the life of a precious child. Many people have been questioning and arguing, you know, $10,000, $60,000, is that sufficient? Many people have questioned that. But again, what we see from this is that this child was left alone in a van for 5 hours, ladies and gentlemen. One thing that we have all seen from all the social media posts since the day of the incident was individuals were talking about a head count, a head count, a head count. What happens? And again, breaking news for those individuals that are just tuning in. There was an active shooter in McAllen Airport. He was shot. Active shooter McAllen. He is dead after entering the Border Patrol building in McAllen. And the reason why I bring this up is because what is your experience whenever you fly on a commercial flight? Don't you get your bags, ladies and gentlemen? Don't you have the host, the stewardess there waiting for you, saying, "Have a great day. Thank you for using Southwest, American, United. I hope you travel with us once again." And what are they doing? They're letting for these individuals to go through the aisles one by one. Are they counting? Possibly not. But what is their role after they land in their cities? They're going aisle by aisle, and what are they looking for? They're looking for trash. They're looking for any luggage left behind. They're possibly looking for any patrons, any customers that possibly fell asleep. Excuse me, sir. Excuse me, ma'am. We've landed in your designated city. Have a great day. You have flown before. You have experienced this. Isn't that the truth? That these people, these airline employees, they go aisle by aisle and they're checking to see if anybody is straggled behind, if anybody's having some issues getting their luggage. Why wasn't this done? Again, it's easy for us to play Monday morning quarterback, but you would expect that these teachers, these parents, these individuals that were entrusted on this field trip, that would be the norm, a head count. Again, it seems as if there were two vans on that day, one at 15, one at 14 people in there, or they were divided somehow. You would think that each person, each driver would be counting. And whenever we talk about head count, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that happens every 10, 15, 20, 30 minutes. Why? Because children, if it's hard to if it's hard to take care of adults, imagine the difficulty of taking care of children. Rosas makes an interesting point that there should be at least one adult per every 8 to 10 children, 8 to 9 children. Why wasn't there more supervision? Why wasn't there more eyeballs on this? And that is what kind of bothers me, that it seems as if the blame is being placed on these two employees only. Why? Why is it just them? Now we ask the question. Well, what are the standards? What is the proper protocol? Whenever these preschools, these daycares, whenever they sign up in the state of Texas, there are regulations, there are proper procedures and protocols for them to follow. Were these ladies licensed? Were they up to date with the do's and don'ts of going out on a field trip, of being in charge of 20 plus kids? If not, they should have been. And if they weren't instructed, don't you think that it is the owner's responsibility to have, what is it, family, monthly trainings, weekly trainings? Because again, you're dealing with people's most valued possessions, their children. So we ask the question, what happens if a child dies in a preschool in the state of Texas? What happens if a child dies in a daycare? Well, several things happen. The Department of Family and Protective Services, they will investigate the death. They will focus on potential abuse, neglect, or exploitation. A death certificate will be issued by a doctor, and the death will be registered with the state's registers of deaths, births, and marriages. Families, they also may seek legal counsel to understand their options and potentially to pursue compensation for damages related to the child's death. When we talk about the Department of Family and Protective Services, they are required to investigate all child fatalities that occur in licensed childcare facilities. And this investigation, ladies and gentlemen, they will examine the circumstances surrounding the death to determine if there is negligence on the part of the preschool. But again, I go back to the news article that I read previously, ladies and gentlemen. The child was in the vehicle for 5 hours. And if you're a resident of South Texas, you know the scorching heat. You know that it's unbearable. Being out in the sun for 10, 15 minutes, and man, you're wishing for a cold glass of water. You are sweating profusely. You can't wait to get back into the building, back into the AC. We all experience it. Isn't it a struggle just to get into our cars, to turn on our vehicles and put the AC on blast? Well, if you have a Tesla, you'd have to worry about that. But you and I know that the South Texas heat is unbearable. Why? Why, ladies and gentlemen, did these teachers wait 5 hours? Why? Were they neglectful because they were on their phones? We live in a society today where now it's all about being on the phones. Now no nos despegamos del teléfono. The older generation doesn't understand how us, the younger generation, we need our phones to survive. We're nothing without our phones. And they trip out and they're like, no, hombre, I used to drive from here to San Luis Potosí, from here to Aguascalientes, without a map, without a phone. And we made it. But 5 hours, ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine that? 5 hours that this poor child was left alone, unaccounted for? It's easy for us to blame and say, oh, well, they should have done X, Y, Z. And again, Gamboa says, pay them well or you get what you pay for. How much are these teachers, are these preschool instructors being paid? $15 an hour? I am not here to make fun of a person trying to make an honest living, by no means. But if you mean to tell me that I have the great responsibility of a child's life on my hands, and you're going to pay me, let's say $10, $12, $15, this is just me, ladies and gentlemen. If I'm taking care of children, you're going to better pay me $50 an hour, $100 an hour. Look at them now. They were getting paid. Do you honestly think, and again, this is no shame, we're just having a discussion. How much do you think these people were being paid? $15 an hour tops? Do you think they were getting paid $20 an hour? If we equate $20 an hour times throughout a year, that's roughly 38,000, más o menos. That's what I was making at the county, at Cameron County, back 12 years ago. $38,000 at $20 an hour. I think I got up to like $21 an hour. These preschools are not getting paid that. Tops for me, I think they're getting paid $15 an hour, $12 an hour. But again, why is it that only these two ladies, the drivers, the workers, why are they the only ones being held responsible? Isn't it the obligation of the owner to possibly do a third head count? Because you think, okay, we have two teachers. If they do their due diligence, these children were accounted for. There was a head count possibly 3 or 4 times throughout the duration of the field trip. And once they got back, they should have checked aisle by aisle, row by row of each van, looked at the top, and look under the seats. Why? Because children like to go under the seats. Shouldn't the owner also be held accountable? Why are we only placing blame on the workers? This, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, has been an example for all daycares and for all preschools. And now you know that they're going to be on their toes. Ventuno states it's possibly even worse. They're probably making minimum wage. Can you imagine that? Making minimum wage, entrusted with the lives of 24, 25 students, and then to be charged with a serious second-degree felony where one was issued a $10,000 bond. You have to pay $1,000 for the bail bonds to get out. The other individual was issued a $60,000 bond. She has to pay $6,000 to bond out. You think they have that money? You think they have the collateral, a deed to say, here's my home, take me out of jail? No, I don't think they do. We are still in the preliminary. The investigations are still preliminary. But many people question, shouldn't the owners be held accountable? And what's sad about this all, ladies and gentlemen, is that there's still an operation. This happened on a Friday. Correct me if I'm wrong. It was June 27th. Let me check the day because everybody says, oh, Frankie, you messed up on one thing. So if you messed up on one thing, you messed up on everything. Yes. The incident in question happened June 27th, Friday. By Monday, June 30th, the preschool was already up in operation. Now, I am no one to tell people who should take care of their children. But if that was my child that attended that preschool, I ain't sending them back. I am not sending them back. And to me, ladies and gentlemen, again, I understand Moms and dads have to work. It's not like how we grew up. I grew up with grandparents. We were fortunate enough that the grandma was always around in some sort of way. She would pick me up from school. I would walk to school. When I got home from school, there was food for me. Not everybody has the luxury, unfortunately, to have a loved one be there for them. So what now? What's going to happen? Are they going to lose their license? Because again, we do anticipate, if they haven't already, that the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services, they are going to investigate this preschool. They are going to carefully monitor this case. And if they start finding irregularities, if they start finding that proper procedures and protocols weren't followed, will they close the business? Will this preschool lose their license? What legal recourse would the family take? Will they choose to consult with an attorney to understand their rights and potential legal options? Because again, there was a death that was caused by what? By negligence or oversight on the part of the preschool center and its staff. So to me, it baffles me that this preschool, that this incident happened on Friday. By Monday, it was already open. Business as usual, it seems, unfortunately. Was this a case of negligence, not just by the staff members, but by the owners as well? Because again, the procedure should be, we have a head count when we leave, we have a head count when we're there, when we arrive, we have a head count before we leave, we have a head count when we arrive again to the preschool. You would think, right? Okay, we left with 25, let's count 25. I expect that these two workers to do the head count, and I also expect the owner. Why? Because the owner, at the end of the day, the buck stops with them. Why isn't and we posted the interview. We posted the interview of if I could find it very quickly, of the grandmother, and I'm gonna share it for you. I'm not gonna play it because it's 8 minutes long, but I'm gonna share it with you because you can hear the despair, the sorrow in her voice. And one thing that bothers me about this, ladies and gentlemen, is that she talks about how that the drivers, that they weren't capable, that there's gonna come I guess information is going to come out, and this is the website. This is the interview of the grandmother the day of this tragic event, and she says that these people, they weren't equipped. We talked about how, unfortunately, one of the people that was arrested, that she made allegations against her husband, her ex-husband, in Matamoros, to the district attorney's office in that city, where she alleged that her children, her female little girls, were being abused by the husband. It came out later that she was making this up. Individuals have told me that she went to St. Joe and that she has or has had mental issues. Now, having mental issues is a very serious thing. And we all deal with our mental health in our own way. And we all try to cope differently as best we know how. But the person that told me said, Frankie, that individual had no business being around children, had no business taking care of children. Today, ladies and gentlemen, today the family will lay to rest Logan Urbina. His obituary reads, Isaac Logan Urbina entered into eternal rest unexpectedly on Friday, the 27th of June, 2025, in Brownsville, Texas. He was 4 years old. Logan was born in Brownsville, Texas on the 21st of May, 2021, son of Monique, Lizeth Garcia, and Pedro Antonio Urbina. He enjoyed playing with toys. He loved dinosaurs and watching Paw Patrol. He was a beloved son, brother, grandson, and nephew, and will be missed greatly by his family. Left behind to cherish his memories are his parents, his big brother, and family. Visiting hours will be held on the 6th of July, 2025, between the hours of 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 9 o'clock at night, with a prayer service to begin at 7. That was yesterday. Today, ladies and gentlemen, a chapel service will commence at 12 noon on Monday, the 7th of July, 2025. He will be buried at Buena Vista on McDavid Boulevard. Words of comfort can be shared at dailymauser.com. If you would like to send personalized funeral arrangements, please contact the Darley Mauser Funeral Home at 956-546-7111. Today, ladies and gentlemen, is a day that no parent wants to live. The cycle of life, the circle of life, if I can get my Lion King mode on, is that the children, we're supposed to bury our parents. Our parents aren't supposed to bury us. We can't imagine the grief, the sorrow, the emptiness that this family feels, all because the place in which they were that they trusted was neglectful. I invite my community to participate in some sort of way. Say a prayer for the family. A GoFundMe page has been created, and many people, unfortunately, have been critical of it and saying, "Oh, why do they want a GoFundMe page? Are they trying to get rich off of this?" No, by no means. By no means. If losing a family member is difficult, imagine losing a child. I'm sharing the GoFundMe page. If you find it in your heart to donate $1, $5, $10, it goes a long way. It really does. Death, it seems, has no respect for age. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that myself, I have dealt with death. And they say, when death comes, it comes in montón. I've experienced 3 deaths that were very, very close to me in the past 2 years. And it's very difficult. It's very difficult to continue on with life. And look, my family members, I don't want to say that they were at peace with them departing, but they knew what they were facing. And it came to a point where they said, "You know what, live your life. Be happy. Honor me. Honor my life by living your life out." And we try as best we can. We try to continue life, but the reality is that it's hard to keep going. The first few days, the first few weeks, the first few months, you're just going through the motions. I couldn't work. I lost clients. My client said, "You know what? I'm going to go to somebody else." And I said, "I understand. I just mentally, I'm not there." These individuals, they're never going to be the same. The family, the parents, the their lives are torn forever. It's beautiful to see the community rally around a tragedy, and to try to do their part. Again, today it was Logan and the Urbina family, the Garcia family. Tomorrow it could be us. We do not wish this on no one, but these are the realities of life, ladies and gentlemen. Golden Corral is holding a special fundraiser for baby Logan this Saturday, July the 12th. They are asking for donations for a chicken plate for $10. Also, you can purchase a t-shirt that reads "Long Live Logan." Or also, I'm going to leave this on the screen for a bit. If you want to scan that QR code for the Cash App to make a donation, we encourage you to do so. And best believe that all the proceeds that are collected from this chicken plate, from the sale of this shirt that you see here on the screen, all proceeds will go to the family. Best believe that. These individuals that are in charge of Golden Corral, Gaspar Hernandez, the Juarez family, Rudy Juarez, they're just the middle people. They help the community. So best believe that if you donate your hard-earned money, $5, $10, $20, best believe that these individuals will give it and it will go to the family. That's no question. Again, we're not asking for much. $5 is great. $5 is possibly a meal for this grieving family. It's difficult for us to wrap our heads around this tragedy. It's hard for us to even think of the sleepless nights that this mother is going through. If I couldn't sleep when I lost my grandma, my uncles, I could just imagine how they are, tossing and turning and possibly blaming themselves. What could I have done different? How did I fail my child? I encourage my citizens of Brownsville to unite, to come together. We don't ask for much here at Good Morning Brownsville. As you know, we never ask for anything personal. People always ask me, Frankie, how can I help you? Do you need money? Do you need... I'm very thankful. I'm thankful for people who reach out and want to take care of me, so to speak. All I ask for two things, and I'm going to repeat it again. I have production in my ear. No, Frankie, don't say it. I only ask for two things in my community. Now is the third, but I'll give you my two. If you ever see me in the streets, all I ask for is a taquito de frijoles con su quesito. That's it. Just one taco of frijol con queso. That's all I ask for. And also, subscribe to our YouTube channel titled Frankie Olivo TV. You want to help the cause? You want me to continue to produce this content? I'll gladly do it. All I ask is for you to subscribe to our YouTube page. That's all we ask, Brownsville. And the last thing, Brownsville, that I would ask of you is to participate. To participate in giving a small donation out of the kindness of your heart to this grieving family. No money, nothing that we say will ever fill the void of the loss of the Urbina Garcia family. Nothing that we give them, nothing that we tell them will make them whole again. Their hearts will be broken for the rest of their lives. What we can do is show them that we care. Show them that our community is grieving with them. The best way to do that is through prayer and through a small donation. All I'm asking for, Brownsville, is for you to donate $5. Just $5 to the family. They say that in difficult moments is when you find people that truly matter. Death is very difficult. Death is something that you don't realize what you have until you lose it. And while our donations, while our prayers, while our words of encouragement and signs of solidarity with the family, while we mean good, that family is heartbroken forever. The only thing that could give them comfort, the only thing that could give them peace is God. God is the only one that could make them whole again. Again, Brownsville, I don't ask for much. All I ask for is for you to pray for the family. And if you find it in your heart, donate $5. That's all I ask of my citizens of Brownsville. Today, ladies and gentlemen, today the family will be saying goodbye to their baby. Today, funeral services will start at noon at Buena Vista. A chapel service will be held at noon at Buena Vista on McDavid. We anticipate the community to go out and show their love and support for this family. Today, it is Logan Urbina, a baby of 4 years old. Tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, it could be one of our children. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and your attention. Make sure you tune in tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. My name is Frank Olivo, and this is Good Morning Brownsville.